Hail, intrepid viewers, and welcome back. New game today. We are playing Heroes Rise, The Prodigy by Zachary Sergi? I like Sergi. I'm not sure if this game is free or not on Steam. I'm pretty sure it is. If I'm not, I apologize for getting your hopes up, but I think it's free on Steam. If you want to check it out for yourself, choose some different options. Then what I'm going to choose. I have not played this before, so I don't really know what options are even available yet. But this is a superhero, anti-hero? I don't know, it's got superheroes. It's a super person game, so let's get to it. Part 1, Legend Has It. Chapter 1, Homeward Bound. A helicopter blade slices through the air inches from your face, filling your nostrils with the smell of burning metal. You don't have time to process this, however, as a ball of flame unfurls in your direction. You leap into a neighboring rooftop and tumble around a smoldering chunk of engine. Today was supposed to be your day off. But when you saw a news chopper careening out of control above the city, you couldn't just stand by like a common pedestrian. As you pull clear of the wreckage, you see that the ejected pilot floats high above the rooftops from a parachute, one that is crawling with licks of flame. It won't be long before the parachute burns through, and the pilot drops hundreds of stories to his death. Hundreds of stories! That's quite high. So, how are you going to save him? Is this how we determine our power? Okay, option 1. Rip up the cables that run along the roof and use them to lasso the pilot down. Use the zip cord from your wrist holster to reel in the pilot. Or forget the pilot. He'll be able to steer himself onto the rooftops. It's much more important to stop the burning wreckage from falling to busy streets below. I'm gonna go... lassos are cool, but wrist holsters are cooler. You jump onto the ledge and use your finger to trigger the zip cord. It shoots from the top of your wrist with a magnetized tip set to latch onto the pilot's metal seat. Your shot lands perfectly. Then, with great care, you begin to retract the zip cord, pulling the pilot safely onto the roof beside you. As your vision fades to black, you remove the virtual reality helmet and end your 3D gaming experience. Tricky. What a twist. You blink several times to adjust to the sunlight in the room, which pours in through sleek glass windows. Then you look across the conference table at a buttoned-up executive eyeing you. So what do you think? They really ramped up the graphics, right? She blurts out. Oh, don't spoil the surprise. Take the game home for your full report. You can collect your advance from the front desk on your way out. Thanks, as always. You are Virtuous Reality's best game tester. But this executive still doesn't know your name. You force a smile and remind her that you are... We'll go with the default again. A guy this time. Named, Declan, Gino, Steven, Shane, Louis, Paul, or Sean. I guess we'll create our own name again. Why not? My first name is Mr. It's Foe. Right, Foe. Always a pleasure. The executive then strides out the door, no doubt on her way to a more important meeting. So you walk toward the front desk alone, thinking that you'd much rather be out there saving real helicopter crashes than testing fake ones. But hey, at least it pays the bills. Though not very well, you think, as you accept a deposit for $100 at the front desk. Adding this amount to your bank account brings you to a grand total of $2,100. Not exactly rolling in dough, are you? Hey, don't judge me. You push all thoughts of money from your mind as you exit into the bustling streets of Millennia City. Nestled on America's west coast between Los Angeles and San Francisco. That's about where... It's like farm country, there's nothing out there. San Luis Obispo's out there. Anyway, it's a shining beacon of 22nd century progress, not to mention the city you've called home your entire life. You step into the crowd next to a woman whose skin is covered in fishy scales, each one reflecting a different color. You suppose this might surprise some people, but not you. NYC has finance, LA has entertainment, and DC has politics, but MC has heroes. Just because their skin's multicolored you think they're a hero? That's racist. It's the powered capital of the country. A fact you're reminded of as a sonic boom pulses through the air. You look up to see twin blondes rocketing across the sky, a cloud of smoke left in their wake. You sigh, knowing that you belong up there with the legends instead of down here with the masses. These days, 1 out of every 3 people is born with powered abilities. In the world, or just in the city? And pretty much every one of them wants to be a hero. Especially now that powered heroes have eclipsed movie stars and music icons to set the standard for A-list celebrity. You'd also love to be flying home right now, considering that you have the power to fly. However, after one too many gruesome mid-air collisions, the Department for the Regulation... Oh, wait. I thought I fly. Cool, I missed that. I just glazed right over that. I can fly! But the Department of the Regulation of Powered Resources, DRPR, Designated the skies for government-licensed travelers only. Well, how tall are you before you're considered being in the sky? So flying is definitely off limits for you. But do you let that stop you? Yeah. Yeah, I do. I'd get shot down super hard. Remember, there's an anime that was very much like this. Was it Kamen Rider? Nope. Kamen Rider was similar. I'm thinking of Kamen Rider because in this anime, the main character was inspired by Kamen Rider to be a costumed crime fighter. What was this called? Samurai? Nope. A Samurai Flamenco. Right. Good anime. Breaking the law now will only hinder your heroic rise later, so you know you'll just have to be patient. Extremely patient. Considering that if you were a big-time hero, you could be flying home in a fraction of the time. That's good. I was pessimistically prognosticating that my superpower of flight would be slower than walking speed, because that's how these things usually tend to go, you know? Nothing never goes all your way. Nothing ever comes up Millhouse. As you walk down to the Metroway platform, you pay for the ticket by rolling up your sleeve and accessing your Mi Chip, a bit of personal tablet technology embedded in the underside of your wrist. Not too long ago, people used paper slips to pay for things, and little plastic devices for phones. But that was before all communication, identification, entertainment, and banking functions became standard in Mi Chips. Each Mi Chip comes fully customizable with robotic personality programming that adapts to your habits and desires. There are 3 standard templates available for the robotic personality, so you decide to go with Polite Butler, Sassy Diva, or the Supportive Caretaker. Supportive Caretaker. I like Polite Butler, just because I obviously tend to go English accents all the time. I don't know why. Algernon, Winston, Jeeves, Barkia? I'm tempted to go with Algernon, because I can't think of anything better right now. Simmons? Smithers! We can call him Smithers if we wanted to. But if we did him Smithers, he would talk like Mr. Burns, because it's a better voice, quite frankly. Smithers is a boring voice. And neither of them are particularly English. Let's stick with Algernon. Ticket paid for, sir. Mi Chip Algernon says inside your head with a slight British accent. Called it. All Mi Chip functions are connected directly to your senses, so Algernon floats in front of your eyes thanks to a holographic imaging wired to your retinas. Why would they wire to your retinas? At this point, they should just go straight to your brain, right? Whatever. Only you are able to see Mi Chip Algernon, who appears as a slender gentleman wearing a full tuxedo. Why can't I have him wearing a Speedo? $2 deducted from your account. Please enjoy your travels, Algernon says before fading away. Waiting on the platform, you spot an old-fashioned newsstand and decide to reward your flying restraint with a gossip meezine. Usually, you try to get your hero news from more credible sources, but you secretly love the trashy magazines. So you skim the screen that runs across the newsstand looking for the digital covers displayed. You then wave your Mi Chip aiming to purchase Hero People, $3, The Dirt Rag, $1, or Capes and Cowls, $5. Capes and Cowls sounds like that Cauldrons and Caverns knockoff of Dungeons and Dragons. If it's alliterative and 2 words with an and, I assume it's an RPG. I'll go with Capes and Cowls anyway. Hero People sounds stupid. Dirt Rag sounds less stupid, but still stupid. Capes and Cowls is the premier hero fashion. Oh, I should have known it was fashion, dang it. Meezine currently featuring a special on recent trends in hero bootwear. Of course, Gila is on the cover, modeling ankle boots that show off her sinewy mega calves. That doesn't sound... That sounds weird, because I'm picturing a lady with disproportionately thick calves. Like, the edges of her calves go past her shoulders. Like, she can't even close her legs. Okay, I'm picturing this. 30 minutes later, you finally emerge from the Metroway in your neighborhood, MC's Eastern Fringes, which consist mostly of public housing projects, pawn shops, and liquor marts. Despite its lack of charm, the Fringes are still home, so you start to relax as you approach your apartment building. A loud crunch of glass snaps your senses to attention. Half a block up, you half a block up, you spot a body that has been thrown from through the windshield of a car. A teenage boy with writhing snakes coiled around his outstretched arms stands on the sidewalk nearby. Before you can even blink, the body in the windshield leaps into the sky. It's another teenage boy whose woolly knees bend backwards like a goat's. Slugger, you curse to yourself. Another animal gang fight. The eastern fringes are home to a large portion of the animalistic-powered population, widely known to have the most interspecies tension. There's an especially fierce feud between two local Annie gangs, the Cloven and the Scales. A goat boy, it sounds like Fables all of a sudden. A goat boy, not Fables, Saga. A goat boy bounds through the air. Snake boy reacts. His arm snakes surge forward. That's weird. Okay, I'm interrupting myself for a second. That is weird that goat boy is part goat. Like, he's partially a human being, partially a goat. Like, but he's one being. Snake boy doesn't have, like, snaky arms. He has, like, literal snakes. He has other beings that are part of him. That just seems like a different kind of power to me. It's like the difference between being made of fire and throwing fireballs. But yeah, whatever. His arms snake surge forward, straightening their impossibly long bodies and clamping onto the goat boy's thighs. Kinky. With their teeth, Snake Boy then whips his arms back, using the snakes as levers to smash Goat Boy into the pavement. That's not how levers work. You mean like a whip? More whipping like a whip? Knowing Goat Boy won't be able to survive much more snake thrashing, you run toward the scene and jump into the fray, striking hard and fast. Let's do that. It's not gonna end well. You're on, Snake Boy, so fast he doesn't even see you coming. In addition to your flight powers, you also have the ability to generate and wield surges of energy. Which power set do you want to utilize here? Oh. These things have power costs. But I don't see... If I click show... I'm not gonna risk clicking show stats, but... Where does it show my mana pool? I don't think I need to use my powers. He doesn't even see me coming. I'm so fast! Although I do like Battering Ram. Battering Rams are sweet. Let's just don't use... He's snakes. I mean, it's not like he's super snakes. Running at full speed, you jump to tackle Snake Boy. Before he can defend himself, you shoulder check Snake Boy and knock him into a nearby wall. With Snake Boy diverted, you turn your attention back to Goat Boy. This is both sexist and... gender? Is sexist? No, sexist and racist, I guess. He's already bounding up the street, bleating curses as he flees. Is his face a goat too? Which is just as well. Your only goal here was to stop the teens from killing each other, since getting involved is technically an illegal act of vigilantism. Before any powered individual can start a career as a professional hero, he or she must apply for a powered hero license. To lessen the number of applicants, the DRPR makes the process rather lengthy and expensive. You've completed all the paperwork and passed the power competency test, but you've been saving up for a while to pay the hefty application fee. It's kinda like your, what is it? Basically anything. If you're gonna get a job with anything, this is pretty standard to keep it with the in-crowd. So with the Goat Boy gone and Snake Boy neutralized, it's time to leave before you get into any unnecessary trouble. What about necessary trouble? They were... Who's talking? Blah blah blah, young daughter. They were at it for almost 5 minutes and no one did a thing. You turn around to see a mother and her young... Oh, the mother. Oops, yeah, whatever. She sounds young. You turn around to find a mother and her young daughter standing on the sidewalk. Both look relieved. The mother presses a tissue to the little girl's forehead against a small cut. They were blocking the door to our building, the mother says. We tried to run inside but got hit with some debris. These Annie gang fights have been getting so much worse lately. Anyway, who do I have to thank for stopping them? Stay anonymous. You don't do good deeds like this for the attention, especially since it's not even illegal. I'm just doing my part to keep the neighborhood safe, you say, shaking her hand. Well, thank you, the mother says. Are you a real-life powered hero? The little girl whispers, gazing up at you. Oh yes, he is, the mother answers. Just get home safely, you say, as you continue toward home, not wanting to admit that you aren't a real hero. At least not yet. When you finally walk into your apartment, you are hit with the familiar fragrance of flowers. That's thanks to your grandma, who is also powered. Her special ability enables her to communicate with plants. So as far back as you can remember, Grandma has filled your home with every kind of flower and foliage imaginable. Your apartment has always felt like a lush greenhouse, and you couldn't imagine it any other way. You drop your bag near the door and approach your favorite flower. I wonder if she can talk to certain kinds of bacteria, which really blur that line. That could answer some good questions. Golda Bronzina Gunimetalia. Well, that's a cool name. We got gold, bronze, and gunmetal, gray. Well, gold's out. Screw gold. Bronze is cool. Bronze is cool, but is it cooler than copper? Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of bronze. Let's go with Gunmetalia. Gunmetalia is a silver rose from a species with metallic foliage that Grandma has spent years breeding. You lean in to get a whiff of the rose. That's weird if you can... I mean, I guess it said you could talk to plants. It didn't say anything about the plants talking back. Because if the plants can talk back, if you can talk to plants, I assume that the plants can talk back. You can hear the plants. If you're breeding them, and they're all around you, I don't know. That just seems like it would take a mental toll on you in some way. Anyway, she spent years breeding them. You lean in to get a whiff of the rose, which always smells faintly of caramel. Another one, or you say caramel. I say caramel. Another, actually depends on the context. I switch back and forth on a caramel corn, caramel candy. Another one of Grandma's unique touches. I am afraid Gunimetalia has been especially cross with me today, Grandma says, entering the living room. I had to de-thorn her this morning, and now she feels particularly vulnerable. You know how roses get about their thorns, such a sore point. Well, tell Gunimetalia, I think she's still a stunner. Thorns or no thorns, you say. Am I flirting with a plant? Approaching Grandma. You know Grandma better than anyone. So you describe her style as simple. Oh, that's not polite. Elegant, kooky, practical. Practical is how you would say simple. I think. No, there's a difference there, but simple, yeah. She's not elegant. Kooky sounds weird. Let's just go practical. I like practical. I like pockets. I like an impractical amount of pockets, actually. Grandma mostly cares about tending her plants, so she wears overalls with gardening tools in the pockets, and keeps her hair tied back at all times. You kiss her hello, then step back and point to the new video game you've brought home. Another whopping virtuous reality deposit to add to the pot. Every little bit helps, you know that, Grandma says. Now if only I could teach one of these little darlings to start growing money for leaves. We've established you don't use paper money anymore. That doesn't make any sense. If anyone could do it, it's you, Gran, you say, walking toward the kitchen. What are we having for dinner? I'm starving. Well, I would assume in this house, we only eat meat. Because eating plants seems weird. But you stop short as you see the feast laid out on the kitchen table. It appears Grandma has cooked your favorite meal. Happy birthday, she says with a grin, hugging your side. Oh, that's so sad. It's not my birthday. She's gone off the rocker. Oh well. 1 hour later. You finally push your plate away, your stomach uncomfortably full. You love Grandma's cooking, but it's usually pretty heavy. All meat and bread and pasta. Called it. Consistency. Good job, author. Since vegetables tend to scream at Grandma when she tries to eat them, we'll kill them first. Well then, now that you've eaten a proper meal, I can finally give you your present, Grandma says, turning to a shelf above the table where several potted plants sit. Their leafy vines hang down across the wall and create a lush green curtain. Guadalupe, would you please? At Grandma's request, the nearest vine swings toward you, and an envelope nestled between its lowest leaves. Go ahead, take it, Grandma practically squeals. I can't wait any longer. Knowing it'd be useless to object, you open the envelope. Or do you say envelope? Which is made of silk fabric, never paper, and pull out a card made entirely out of dried rose petals. How is that better than paper? Grandma never lets anything go to waste, especially not the remains of her best friends. She wrapped it in corpses! They just admitted it! Oh, that's sick. And while this rose card is especially lovely, you are really stunned by what's inside. A brand new DRPR issued Powered Hero license. For you. You read the license, double-checking that the information listed really belongs to you. Department for Regulation of Powered Resources, Hero License. Name, Foe Sterling. Gender, male. Martial status, single. Martial status, marital status. Orientation, upright. Since the 21st century, political disputes regarding sexual orientation and marriage, the government has required all citizens to declare their orientation along with their marital status. You may think it's a bit of an invasion of privacy, but it was a required field on your application, So you answer that you're attracted to... Well, we let... with most things gender, I'm gonna let things stick with the default. And we're gonna stick with men, I guess. You guess you don't mind too much about the requirement to declare your orientation, however, since it came after the hard-fought legalization of gay marriage. Also, this is the first game, I think, where the default pattern has been men on the top both times. That's interesting. In this patriarchal society, I would have hazarded to guess that that would be typical, but it hasn't been. That's awesome, I guess. I like... The whole point of doing the default is to increase randomization, because different authors do different styles, and so far it's working out. I guess I should do that. I should basically do the default, except when it duplicates a previous story. Good to know, and put it on the chalkboard. You guess you don't mind too much, blah blah blah, hard-fought legalization of gay marriage. Next, your code name is... Well, I don't really know my power. Maneuver, Rush, Conduit, Charge, SFX. Those are all the worst. I don't know my powers, though. They're still stupid. I feel like I have a list of code names written around here somewhere. Like, I brainstorm random lists sometimes, and I felt like I had... It's buried, I'm not going to dig for it. Let's make a new thing, though, anyway. My code name can be the One. What's something super pretentious? If I was a superhero, and I wanted to piss off every other being in existence, I'd name myself the Good Guy. I'd name myself... something impronounceable, some symbol. I don't think I'd like that. What if I inserted a JPEG in this field? Would this game crash? Probably. Probably wouldn't let me do it without some extreme heavy lifting. Name myself Lockjaw. Name myself... Overlord. What's some, like... teenage... level, like, late... Oh, let's go Guardians of the Galaxy reference. Spoiler free, but there's a guy in that name, Taserface. Let's stick with that. You stare down in disbelief at the license. Grandma has just given you the best birthday present ever. How? You start to ask, not sure where to begin. Someone just needed to pay the outstanding bill on your application, Grandma says, beaming. But Gran, this is too much. We can't possibly afford... Hush, Grandma says, crossing her arms. I had to spend all that extra potpourri money on something useful, didn't I? Grandma smiles at you, then looks at the tree in the corner of the kitchen. She nods, and right on cue, the tree begins to shake, letting loose a shower of sparkling seeds. Grandma only has that old tree shake shimmers on the most special of occasions. It's like your little... That's, kind of sick. It's like, dance for me! Dance for me, slave! Thank you, Gran, is all you can manage. It's only what you deserve, foe. It's Taserface now. Grandma says, leaning back in her chair and stroking the shimmer tree. Besides, it's what your parents would have wanted. Okay, that ends... Chapter 1. So let's move on to the next chapter. Next chapter! By the Root.